go.
Just 60 minutes down?
Go 60 down, yeah.
So it makes like a beeping sound at the beginning.
That's fine. Video's good?
We good.
Perfect.
Oh, rolling. Start it manually.
Sometimes
I think
there's
you have
like
to come a little
range.
closer,
The range is a little
Mr. Gamache.
gamache.
Mickey, when you talk like close to the mic, because it doesn't pick up.
I have a podcast too.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry. Some people have different equipment.
Same stuff. We'll just do the one that counts up.
Yeah, do the bottom one.
I don't really understand.
That's fine.
Whoa,
Hyperspeed.
it's a little too much for me.
Just don't look at it.
It's nuts.
Whoa.
Yeah, don't look at it.
It's a little scary.
Don't look at it. We're having clock problems here, guys. Guys, happy Monday.
You too. Happy Cyber
Stop
Monday.
looking at the clock.
I can't help it.
Stop it.
It feels like Cyber Monday. The time
Gosh,
is
it
going
looks like
so
a countdown. It looks like the room's going to explode.
We have
Yeah.
to do a little meme of our new clock. It's a little too fast.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out our pacing here, listeners. And so we have two clocks and whatever. The one that happens to be running right now looks like a bomb.
Yeah.
So,
Little
It's like
ISIS,
an episode of
little
24.
ISIS vibes here.
yeah, if you hear another beep on this episode, just pray for us. Okay, well, welcome back. We're back. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever.
I know.
4 days?
Yeah, I missed you.
5 days.
We missed you too. Give us the recap. Let's
Oh.
just get
You
into
have
it.
the recap. I didn't leave a 2-mile radius in
I
the
have
last 4 days.
Recap of the century. So, first of all, I want to apologize to both of you and to all of our listeners. I did not get any recordings. The reason being was I was confused. There was a discrepancy because Danny had helped book my plane tickets. I thought I was leaving much later on the final day. So I had planned my big Barbara Walters moment for the following day.
Friday.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be Thursday after like the turkey and the whatever disgusting
Well, here's the
sides
strategy. The
people
strategy
have.
was like everyone's too grouped up during that part. So the next day, when everyone's kind of relaxed, we've already spent our family time, we can separate to a room. I can 60 minutes, my dad. But we messed up the flight. I woke up in the morning, realized that we were leaving much sooner. So we didn't even go back to the house or have time to really get the moment. That being said, of course, we still got into some good conversation.
Yeah, I got some of it.
My mom, okay, so funny story. My mom, literally, I started talking to my dad. We started talking about vaping. My mom's like, I'm sending this to D. I'm sending this to D. And I'm like, Mom, stop. She's like, you're lucky I don't have D's number. I would send this to D.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thank God you don't.
Yeah.
Right? But I swore she did.
Yeah.
So we get to talking, and I look over, and my mom is just holding her phone. So
Yeah.
anytime we would start talking, my mom would hold her phone. So I'm like, all right, Mom, but I'm not giving you D's number.
Yeah.
You're not going to send it to D. And then she walks over and shows me that you respond. She texted you. Somehow got your number. And you responded and said, film everything. And so then she was literally your personal reporter.
Yeah.
So she's a journalist, just like us.
She's a journalist.
Yeah.
So every single conversation I would look over, and my mom would have the phone horizontal trying to capture a moment.
So I got one video.
Yep.
I'll be honest, like we had our Anand and Amanda, Maverick, my parents, my wife's parents come, my wife's sister. We had 14 people at our house. There was not one thoughtful discussion.
Yep.
Was there?
No, I think we were just trying to entertain the kids.
Do you think the
and
kids do it, though?
Everyone was
just happy the kids were playing and just really excited.
We went through
Everyone's
8
focused on
bottles of
that.
wine, 2 bottles of tequila, and my sister-in-law was like, we didn't really drink that much.
We did have a conversation on how the Cowboys were losing. That was the
we
deepest
talked about
got.
Young Ho, the kicker from the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
That was the extent of our Thanksgiving. I see this text, and I'm like, you guys are deep.
Yeah, we dove in. And we didn't have one drop of alcohol. Like the difference of, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have one drop of alcohol at our house, and all we did was talk about serious issues.
And the thing is so the snippet that I got was regarding Christian music.
Yep.
And it was you, your girlfriend Corrine, and the family. And I think you, Drama, were saying that because you're exploiting religion, you should have to give a portion of your earnings to God.
Okay, so let me give you the full rundown. I'll give you the quick version.
Yeah.
So 2 things. Number 1, the dynamic was a little different this year because I love my dad to death. My dad listens to every group chat episode now.
Yeah.
So the same way when we're out and about and people we know come up to us and say, "Oh, come on, like we work." Oh.
That's how
my dad is now. So my dad now knows like the trigger points or knows what we said that he doesn't agree with, and so it's easier to start getting into that conversation. The other thing is, I think once you get older, you realize the traits that your parents have that you also have. My dad loves a good debate.
Yeah.
Like he just loves to like take a strong stance on something and stick to it.
Yeah.
And so that combination led to like some real debate.
Yes.
So the first one that really got everyone going was there was a news report about vaping and about how bad it was. And I said, well, you know that the only real like proven verified cases of these lung diseases is from people artificially, filling their own jewelry. And he said, not true. And I said, well, no, it is true. Like they haven't actually confirmed you, not true, blah, blah, blah. So then we go on this whole thing. That turned into like, I was like, Dad, look, if you're going to, essentially what he was attacking was nicotine. And he thought that putting nicotine in things was simply a trick by big business to get people addicted. I started explaining that nicotine is very similar to caffeine or very similar to sugar. Like you could arguably read about caffeine and sugar and nicotine, and if it didn't say what it was, you wouldn't know which one you were reading about, right?
Okay,
so I was like, if you're going to start to fight that fight, you have to also fight McDonald's, Coca-Cola, all these other things.
So how did this conversation end?
So that conversation ended with
another argument?
No, here's what happened. So that conversation kind of wound down. It was like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
And great. So then my dad's
who's
like... Who's
starting all these debates?
Well, the first one started with my dad saying, vaping, terrible, giving everyone lung disease,
But how did that... I'm more curious, like...
Yeah, what's the dynamic? You guys are sitting around the couch. You guys all look cozy.
Yep.
You guys are dressed warm.
Sitting around, hanging out. A news story comes up on the news.
Got it.
Blah, blah, and then I said, well, not
what
really.
Channel?
I think you watched the Macy's Day Parade from what I saw.
Was it
We did
Fox
over
News?
and over. And over. It wasn't Fox. I would love it for it to have been for the story, but it wasn't. So,
Great local news, like, whatever.
So my dad says that. I say, well, blah, blah, blah. He said, no, not true. Then my brother starts chiming in. He's like napping on the other couch in the other room, but in earshot. So he's like, yes, it is the same. And then I'm like, no, guys, listen. So then, whatever. So that went through this whole debate. And essentially, whatever, for the sake of keeping it to a podcast, it wound down to like, okay, fair enough, right? I agree. Then literally, because of the fun of the debate, he was like, what about Colin Kaepernick, though? And I was like,
yes!
Where do we go there? Where do we land?
Now we're talking.
So here's the trick with Colin Kaepernick is he listened to our last podcast where we were saying he was an idiot for how he handled the trial. So we were on the same page. So I said, you know what, Dad, like I've actually come a little closer to you on the Colin Kaepernick thing.
Yeah.
I don't think, unfortunately, we don't have anything
Stand
to
the
debate
fuck
here.
up, Colin.
So he did take a strong stance in like, if I'm watching football, I don't want to see political shit. I just, which is kind of like the NFL argument.
Yeah.
And I said like, yeah, I understand. But like at the same time, the only reason why people watch football is because these players put themselves on the line and that's their platform. And if they want to take a knee or do something that he thought was respectful, like I'm kind of in the middle on that.
Yeah,
but either
fair.
way, he's handled it stupidly. And my aunt chimed in on that one. We were all on the same
What'd the
page.
aunt say?
Aunt said, yeah, absolutely not. If you want to play in the league, play by their rules. If not, go somewhere else.
Okay, fine.
That's fair.
So I was like, okay, fair enough.
Next topic.
So then I think there might have been some dabbling in some other little stuff. But then my mom was talking about how much, first of all, my mom, sorry, Mom, absolutely loved Matt Lauer.
Wow.
Was devastated. Devastated that he had to step down.
Yeah.
So we started talking.
These guys get paid $20 million a year because
They're
the country
beloved.
loves them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she
it makes
loved
sense
him.
that there's a.
Can your mom watch the morning show?
That's what started that conversation.
Okay.
So we were talking about how good the morning show was. My dad said, yeah, it's pretty much the Matt Lauer story. And I said, yeah, I didn't realize.
Did your mom watch it though?
No.
I was devastated by Charlie Rose and his Me Too movement.
Yeah. So that's kind of how my mom was. So then we started making fun of my mom for liking creeps. You know, like, oh, you have a soft spot for creeps. Because my aunt was like, oh, I knew he was a creep. You could tell he was a creep, right? So, okay.
Which is interesting. I'm actually curious about how she was able to decipher.
I didn't know he was a creep.
Like,
because if you look up on YouTube, he did have a lot of interviews where he would say kind of weird, like, oh, it's a little uncomfortable.
Okay.
Like someone would have a movie role where they were like, you know, barely wearing any clothes or something. He'd say, so about that, you know, saw more of you than I was expecting in the new movie. Like he would say stuff like that, right?
Got it.
So she was like, I knew he was a creep. Screw that guy. My mom was like devastated. Like, you know, what did he really do? So then she was saying, I get made fun of for all the people I like. I also really like Joel Osteen. And we had talked about Joel Osteen on the pod. And so I was like, oh yeah, that guy's a crook.
Yeah.
Didn't even think that would
start anything.
No. And so like, well, a crook, why is he a crook?
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, this guy is like filthy, filthy rich off the back of Christianity and blah, blah. And that just led to this huge, which I'm surprised.
I'm surprised that is okay.
I'm not surprised. You want to know why I'm not surprised? Is because...
What?
Wait, what are you surprised is okay?
I'm surprised that it's okay. Like, I agree with him in the argument that his mom sent the snippet was, if you're exploiting God to make money, you shouldn't be rich. It's not fucking fair.
Yeah, it's certainly immoral, but it's not illegal.
So here's the stance
I
I
didn't say it
took.
was illegal.
Yeah.
I just
So
said it's not right.
Here's the stance I took. The stance I took was, look, if you're able to spread the word on that big of a scale, you deserve to be rewarded. So I'll say, I'll give Joel Osteen $1 million a year salary, right? That's an incredible life here on earth. I'm sure God would agree, right? But everything else should go to building more churches, should go to actually
Helping
practicing
people,
what you
communities.
preach. And they said, well, why? So are you saying nobody should be able to be rich? And I said, absolutely not. But he has built a platform off of, he's saying that he is, he's preaching the word of God. It's not even his. I was like, as an example, if I sampled a Beatles song that everyone loved and played it on the radio, I would have to give all of my publishing to the Beatles. Yeah. Why? Because it's the familiarity.
Excellent argument. That's a great argument.
They were not feeling that. They were not.
I wouldn't even thought of that as the reference point, but that's a really good
What's
one.
the justification against that?
They took a strong stance on like, no, if you are able to build that big of a following and have that great of things, you deserve.
So, you know what's interesting is that is the principle of free market economics, right?
Yeah.
And the majority of the people that probably follow Joel Osteen don't believe in free market economics when it applies to different industries.
So here's the difference, right? And this is what I learned is when you really like and believe in what Joel Osteen is saying, you have a soft spot for him. And that's exactly my point, is he's able to kind of pull the wool over people's eyes and say, God wants me to do this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's cheating. I told my dad, I'm like, so, okay, you don't think Joel Osteen's a crook. Do you think the CEO of Juul is a crook because he puts nicotine in his stuff? He's cheating to get people addicted to his product. Faith and religion is one of the most passionate, like there's nothing more.
Nothing bigger.
And so you wouldn't even compare those two. He's like, absolutely not.
Wow.
Which is weird.
Yeah, and I'm like, to me, like the CEO of McDonald's, the CEO of Juul, like you're all using these things to drive up, like you're cheating. And I think that faith and religion is the biggest one. And I'm totally fine with people like Joel Osteen selling out stadiums and doing all this stuff, but nearly all of your money should go back into what you're riding. You're riding on the back of something much bigger than yourself. If Joel Osteen was just a motivational speaker, I don't know that anyone would give a shit.
If it was Tony Robbins, you're fine.
But the thing
but I'm
is,
saying I don't know if anyone would care.
But the only people that could actually command that are his listeners and his followers. And if his followers, which you're telling me, are okay with him making money, then it's not. Then it's actually okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right? But that's why it works.
His followers are like, yeah, you should be rich and fly private and stay in 5-star hotels.
And that's what I
mansions.
said. I'm like, this guy needs to fly private. Like he deserves to be rewarded. I'm like, yes, he can fly first class. He can have a beautiful house in Texas, wherever the hell he lives. Flying private, like these, like insane.
We're not flying private.
I mean,
not fair.
Most business people aren't flying private, right? But there's this. To me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that you can sort of vilify the CEO of Juul when I think he honestly set out to help eradicate smoking. I think it was like this interesting bonus, and he's like, well, we're going to milk this. But the point is, whatever. But you don't see a problem with this thing.
Mickey, you're a religious guy. What do you think?
I am. you know, it's funny. My parents will probably say the same. It's like take the same stance for Joel and say like because he's spreading the word. But I'm really with you because I was at a church for a long time and I started to kind of feel some type of way because I was giving up my 10% tithe every month, you know, and then you're starting to wonder like, does
10% of what?
That's what you're supposed to give.
Of your income.
10%
Yeah,
of your
tithing
Of your income?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, yes.
Pre-tax or post-tax?
I thought it was like Mormon. I thought Mormon people give 10%.
No, Christians too.
Regular people too?
Yeah, no, that's tithing. Yeah, but look,
I have another word for
at
that.
some
but
point,
I'm not gonna say it.
but at some point, and I'll say this: like I had my best year when all of that was going on, and I can put that into like the whole like religious side of things, and it's the blessing coming back and tenfold. And again, this is something that was in my household since I was a kid. So to me, it sounds outrageous for anyone else from the outside, but for me, it was like normal. It was part of the blessing, and you know. At some point, though, you start to like, does everybody need a black car? Like, you know, do the kids need a black car? Like, it's just like, but if you're going to judge, then maybe that's not your home. The reason I did the tithing and I believed in what I was doing was because as a single, not a father yet, I wanted to put and invest into a future home for them.
Yeah.
So that was the single purpose to
But you
why.
knew where your money was going?
I mean, I'm not checking the
Or
balance
was your
sheet. I'm not checking the.
pastor-
Well,
you know,
you're
driving
donating to the
X550.
church, but no one's auditing.
But
You're
that's why
not
I said, like,
auditing
what
where
if-
that
Yeah,
money's
we're
going.
not auditing. I don't think anybody's auditing, and you're just kind of put on the whole. You know, you would have quarterly get-togethers for those that were a little, you know, putting in a little extra in the tithe to understand where that money was going.
How do you spell
whether-
tithe or
Huh?
tithing?
Tithe. I
Okay.
think.
Because that's what two of my arguments were. Number one, if you were donating to any charity in the world and you found out the CEO of that charity was flying private, would you be pissed? They all said yes.
Furious.
Yeah,
Furious.
and
To me, it's the
and
exact
there's
same
so
thing.
many opportunities opportunities once you
Our religion.
So here's the
are
other thing that
church
I
and
said is,
nonprofit, which is why Kanye made the most business brilliant pivot of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
This guy's gonna be a billionaire,
ooh, that's another
profiting
one.
off
Yeah.
of like everyone.
Yeah. I'll tell you that conversation in a second. But anyway, that one went. So another thing I said is, would you be okay with your pastor keeping a bunch of money if blah, blah, blah? And they said, well, as long as I like the church, as long as whatever, sure, it's fine. And I said, okay, now what if that same church had a leak in the roof? Would you still be okay with him with his black cars and all that stuff? The answer is obviously no, right? So to me, when you get as big as Joel Osteen, your responsibility becomes much larger.
Yeah.
And there's all these problems in all. I mean, you don't have to look very far to
The
see where
hurricanes,
there's
yeah.
problems, right? And so to me, the problem is when you're flying private and there's all of these problems that can easily be fixed by that additional 20 million you're taking home. And it says, if you Google it, I didn't look into it deep, but the first thing it says is he's decided to forfeit his $200,000 allotted salary
Yeah, because he's making
because
20
he's worth
million.
like $100 million.
Yeah.
But it works. And I think that works. So either way, that caused a huge thing.
It always fascinates me with people like Joel Osteen because he obviously has a gift.
Yeah.
He's able to
Oh,
command,
definitely.
command stadiums and 50,000, 100,000, however many people are at these places, and to be able to captivate them for an extended period of time.
No,
is
you
a
know why
gift.
I'm not impressed with that is because he's using arguably the most powerful figure
No, but
in
you
our
need the
history.
charisma. You still need the
So-
charisma.
so
Forget-
yeah.
forget-
So
you still need
sure,
the
so
charisma.
then I put Jimmy Fallon there and have him do it. He has charisma. He
Yeah,
just
he
needs
might.
to use.
Jimmy Fallon, Joel Osteen make the same amount of money, right?
Yeah, probably. But I'm just saying, Jimmy Fallon has to actually be funny. Or, I mean, I don't think he's
No,
funny.
so
but
my
like,
point
whatever.
is Joel Osteen an actor, or does he actually believe it? Does he go home, drink like a bunch of scotch, and live
Unclear.
a pretty like unreligious?
Have you seen The Righteous?
And we'll never know. We'll never know. But it just feels like, man, if you are truly living what you preach, you're not flying private, and you're not. If you are, it's starting to get real blurry where your corruption is.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people have questions about Bieber's pastor.
Yeah.
He's a pastor to the stars.
Yeah. 100%.
All
That's
the
why I
NBA
said,
players, famous pop singers,
Yeah.
and no one knows, right?
Yeah.
What's the line? What's the distinction?
Yeah.
But with all those like famous friends, they get a lot of big gifts, and like I'm not defending them, But
Yeah.
that's also a very common thing.
But I would argue they shouldn't be
outside
allowed
of their-
to accept them.
outside of their allotted salary.
So I'll give you an example. I have the option. I have Rolexes. I have nice things. I choose not to wear them.
Right.
I choose not to show those off because I don't think that's cool. Like
I agree
I
with
get
you.
that people want to be flashy and show off, and there's a time
Bieber's
and
passion is fresh to death.
time and place for a lot of those things. I just like if I was hiking, I would not have a $25,000 watch on or show
Right.
up in my fancy car. And if I was preaching the word of God, I don't think it's especially most of the audience is looking for hope.
Right.
It's like
But did you pay for those items?
me?
Yeah.
Well, me, yes. But like, I'm just saying that I don't know, but the audience doesn't know that.
Right.
I also
If the
don't
audience
think
said, if he went out and
But
said,
I guess what's the distinction whether you paid for them or got a gift?
I think
Well, I'm just saying because like people judge their outfits or like the preacher sneakers, like whole thing. Like, I'm sure every single one of those guys in that circle of pastors, because I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think any of those guys have ever paid for a Fear of God outfit. I don't
Right.
think any of those guys have ever paid for, some of those things. And again, like not in defense, but I also think that's
if they
No,
didn't
so I
pay,
guess, do you think it's disingenuous for them to surround themselves with super famous, super rich people that are gifting them Ferraris
no,
and
I actually don't think. I think that's fine.
Rolexes and
I just don't
think
think they
that's
should
fine.
accept it.
right? That's the point.
Yeah.
Or just make it clear. I would make it clear. Thank you, Jerry Lorenzo, for giving me my $4,000 outfit.
right.
But I would never like it. To me, it goes against everything that the faith is about.
Yeah.
Because the faith isn't
I'm not
about
familiar
your
with the faith.
Well, it's not about your church filled with rich kids, right? It's about like the Christianity as a whole, your people as a whole, or people in general as a whole, probably more accurately. So you in your $3,000 outfit with your nice car is an absolute like embarrassment to how most people actually live. And if we want to make it real close to home, most Christian people actually live.
Yeah.
So I just think for you to even be walking around in something that's so expensive for no reason, like it's not expensive for, there's no true value to it, right? It's just to be flashy, is fundamentally showing a disconnect with what Christianity is all about.
I agree. I just that's been a marketing move recently.
Yeah, and they've also been like these minister types that have really expensive shit.
Well, Joel Osteen has the most expensive shit, which is
Yeah.
private planes.
But there's
Yeah.
been
Like having a $500 pair of shoes is one thing. $40 million plane.
I mean, he has
You
a-
can argue it's
he has a
different
stadium.
because at least I mean Joel Osteen's it's documented. He earned it. He earned the money to fly private.
yeah.
So did these other people.
Yeah. But my thing is the whole like minister or whatever like religious figure being really, really rich isn't new. Like that's happened in many religions.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just even in Indian religions like Hinduism and it's just we've seen it and I don't think it's right. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I
don't-
mean, there's corruption across the board, across all religions.
Yeah, this is
and
not-
it's just for people who are actually super faith based. I'm like, you said you're a religious person, so how do you kind of reconcile, separate from being religious, but the people that are kind of conveying the word of the religion, knowing that there's corruption? How do you distinguish like how you think about all that?
I mean, that part of it, because for me, it's still growing, and my faith is really the drive behind it. It's not so much religion as it is some sort of like spiritual connection to knowing that something can happen beyond my physical reach.
Sure.
That's what's important to me. And so when I was a part of a ministry or a church, and I've been a part of my parents' ministry, and I couldn't really connect with what the goals were there, or what their idea was. And then I found a church that I felt like was home. And when I felt maybe I can go make a bigger effect somewhere else locally with my tithe or my energy or my spirit, then that became the focus. So it's
not about religion.
It's not about religion or like.
Now it's just like kind of thinking about making the world
community
better,
better,
community
yeah.
better,
Yeah.
and how you
Because
can
think about it, when you
contribute to
give that 10%, you're not thinking, let me compensate the minister for how well he's doing. You're thinking, let me give back so that this
If
can
I
help
gave
the community.
10% of my income to a minister and I saw him rolling up with anything nice,
Right.
Because that's not what, you're not giving it to say, thank you, minister, this is for you. You're giving it to
the
help
community.
other people.
To the community that they've built. And so that's the argument that they're building it, but it's a huge team.
I built a great community at the Grand AC Run Club. I don't get shit. In fact, I pay for every lunch, every dinner.
I'll put 10% into the Grand AC.
You should demand everyone to donate 10% of their income to the Grand
Then I'd
AC.
be God.
Yes, you'll be Joel Osteen.
It might work.
50% of my workout clothes is Grand AC. So.
Yeah, you owe that 10%, Mickey.
That's where the 10%.
All right, we have no choice but to move on.
Okay.
But hopefully there's more that comes up later because this is a really fun discussion. But that was the main one that took over Christmas. Whatever. At the end of the day, we all sort of were able to, nobody was upset.
Yeah,
it was all in good fun. We didn't cross any lines.
We still need the interview.
Yeah, I will absolutely get the interview. And I will say, I was a little sketched out about it. Sorry, Dad, before I went there. My dad would actually be great.
Yeah.
He might
I have an idea. I'm just going to throw it at you live. We are doing a live event December 10th.
Yep.
What if we brought your dad out?
Oh, gosh.
He's listening.
We could talk about it. We could absolutely talk about it. It's a lot. I just feel bad for my dad because to us in LA where we're for him coming to LA and sitting on a stage with spotlights being asked about Colin Kaepernick.
minutes. 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't have to do the whole thing. 10 minutes.
Okay.
But I think it will give a nice perspective to our perspective, which is obviously falling off the left. I get it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to get a balance.
Yeah, I agree. And either way, we have to tie his perspective into the show. Because sure, it can get a little
but I think it's important. And here's the difference between at least how I view the world. I'm okay with hearing opposing views of the world. I have a view of the world,
of course.
and I'm okay. But a lot of people can't hear it. When
not
I'm
only
at the airport, I'll give you the example of the airport. I'm at the airport. CNN's always on at airports. They're not going to Fox News. And I'm flying first class or whatever, and I'm listening at the lounge. Can you believe this motherfucker? Just someone very conservative is listening to the news.
Forget conservative. It's 50% of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's what we talk bubble talk all the time, and we're in the biggest bubble of them all, West Hollywood, where we live, and the 50% of the country thinks not only just different, extremely differently than we do.
But the difference is, unlike other people on Earth, on both sides, they can't hear the opposing side ever. I'm okay with the opposing side. I don't
think you are, but I think you're willing to listen to it on a podcast.
No,
for
you
content.
don't even like talking about kids drinking whole milk. You're like, they should drink oat milk and almond milk and this milk.
Well, I don't want a fat fucking kid, so that's different.
I will say a lot of times you don't like to hear the opposing opinion.
No, I'll hear it, but I will disagree.
For the purposes of our ratings, you want the other side.
But here's the thing is, I'll sit and watch Fox News. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't even sit and watch and hear. I was in an Uber the other day with a guy with the Alex Jones t-shirt, listening to Tucker Carlson. It was a 50-minute ride to Santa Monica because it was peak traffic. And I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
I was excited to hear the other side.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Joel Osteen and his planes, we had a great fucking Black Friday.
Yeah. I mean, we're not Joel Osteen, Rich.
No, we're not Joel Osteen. We're like Joel Osteen's
We're Uber
cousin.
Black Rich.
Yeah, we are, even with the new prices.
You know what? Surge price us, Uber.
Yeah.
We're unstoppable after this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, thank you to, I don't know if it was the increase from group chat buzz, but we had, both of us, in all of our respective brands, had a great Black Friday.
It's funny is that I did conversate with a lot of group chat listeners throughout the weekend who bought a Young and Reckless bundle, new Republic shoe, and then it's just they're all ages, all walks of life.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny just connecting, but we had a great Black Friday. People are saying Black Friday did about $7.5 billion online. I can't find their brick and mortar sales.
Yeah, I've been looking. I couldn't find it either.
But they said it was 6.5% down from last year.
Which
is nothing.
Of the 7.4 billion, 2.9 billion were on smartphones, which is crazy.
I mean, what are other people shopping?
Just buying the actual phone or counting app stores?
Buying from their smartphone.
Well, I mean, that's
Most
nothing.
people just sit on their computer and just buy.
Who has a
whatever.
computer?
I thought
I
you were
don't
saying
have a
like
working
I thought you were
computer in
saying
my
like
house.
smartphones and accessories and
No, no, no,
apps,
no, no,
and I was
no.
like, damn. Okay, got it. Sorry,
So
stupid me.
I think the most shocking number that we all were discussing earlier was, I think it was like 900 million was done on Shopify.
yeah,
Knowing that Fashion Nova and Yeezy are on
Up
Shopify.
from 573 million, which is staggering.
Yeah.
But I'm still surprised.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that number seems low.
Because it's 1 million plus merchants on Shopify.
Yeah.
So the average merchant did $900.
Yeah.
I mean, so you telling me most of the people on Shopify do no fucking business?
But it's just there's the behemoth. Isn't Kylie on Shopify?
I believe she is, from last I heard.
So if you're talking about maybe Kylie, Fashion Nova,
Yeezy.
yeah,
Those
so
are three that I pretty confident are.
That means
We're
most
on
people
it.
are doing-
We did pretty big numbers between all our sites.
yeah.
So
We did our part.
I mean, did everyone else do nothing?
I don't know. I think there's giants, and then I think there's a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 900 million of 7.4 billion. That's how to think about
No,
it.
no,
right?
it's significant
Yeah.
in digital sales, but the fact that retail sales were only down 6.5%, pretty big win for retail. So I'll give you my Black Friday experience. On Saturday, my wife went to get her nails done in Beverly Hills. So I walked. I hit up Saks.
We saw your Barney's post.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, we saw your sayonara,
Yeah.
you bitches.
Fucking losers.
Yeah, I didn't
Stuck
realize.
me for 40 grand.
Didn't realize you had a personal vendetta.
I went to go literally. I
Watch
wanted
it burn.
Were there any
whip
good
it out,
sales?
piss all over that place.
Were there any good sales at Barney's?
Let me tell you something. I went to Saks first. I don't want to skip Saks. I went to the men's store. They have a men's store
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then a regular store. It was disgusting. It was borderline swap meet. This is Beverly Hills.
Like the actual like like how it was organized.
It was a disgusting place. And let me tell you what is dead.
What?
Dead. Everything New Guard Zone.
Really?
Dead. I've never seen so much
Including
discount.
Off-White?
The most discounted brand was Off-White. They're giving it away.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. You don't see that many people in like
Chinese
the real
people.
Off-White.
I saw Chinese people eating that shit up
Yeah.
at Saks.
But the kids are wearing like T-shirts and the Nikes.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm walking. I went through every floor at the Saks men's store first, and I literally was mortified. One, how disgusting that store is.
Yeah.
Literally disgusting.
Yeah. Do you think that was like a Black Friday? Like,
No, I think they're disgusting. It's a disgusting place.
is it disgusting by any chance?
It's disgusting. Like I found a pair of pants I wanted to try on. And I was afraid I was
You were
seeing roaches in
mortified.
the fucking.
That reminds me when I was in investment banking and we were on a road show and we went to the Peninsula Hotel in New York City, which is obviously an expensive hotel. And the client was like, I was disgusted. I had to wear shoes the whole time because I didn't want my feet to touch the.
The old peninsula was disgusting.
That's like D. That's like D.
The
Beverly
Saks-
Hills, Rodeo Drive, disgusting.
This store was so disgusting. So my wife gets done. We get a matcha latte. We walk over to Barney's. And I was happy to see that place is a toilet bowl.
Well, it's going out of business.
Worse than disgusting.
Worse than disgusting.
And they have the signs all up.
I'm
So
pretty
Beverly
sure
Hills is burning. That's
Beverly, if you have a store in Beverly Hills, you are fucked.
I don't. That
I
seems
don't
a
think
little.
that's true.
No,
that seems a
I
li-
do think that's true.
What about
Unless,
Louis Vuitton?
Okay,
I mean, Louis
unless,
Vuitton owns like half the block.
unless you're on Rodeo and you're Louis Vuitton, your Tiffany's, your Chanel.
Oh, you're saying the other ancillary.
Yes, I'm talking about the A stores
Yeah.
were busy. Yes, 100%. The Saks.
I'm sure Chanel was popping.
No, all those
But
stores
that's
were
the story of U.S. retail, right?
Yeah. If you don't
It's
need
the
it,
haves and have-nots. That's
Big
U.S.
time.
retail.
Barney's is untouchables. You know, the lowest class in Indian
That's where
culture.
the Joker lives.
They're literally like the Joker. It is so disgusting. People were like, you don't get another 50% off. Oh, by the way, no checks. I need to see your ID. Like, this place is like checks cash place.
And they had like the signs up, like it looked like a.
And it was
Toys
disgusting.
R Us going
Let me
out
tell
of
you
business.
something. It was disgusting product.
On theme.
On theme.
Yeah, maybe it's on brand. Maybe
Wilshire,
it's,
Wilshire Boulevard in Beverly Hills is disgusting. Neiman's, Saks, Barney's, disgusting.
So keep in mind for our listeners who don't live in LA, it's literally one of the nicest.
It's the most expensive real estate maybe in the world.
and like you drive down and it's like beautiful. There's already Christmas trees up and like Mariah
Rodeo was
Carey's-
popping. Like
Yeah.
I walked into LV, Chanel. I mean, all those stores looked
Yeah.
amazing. They were busy. These department stores,
Yeah.
they don't care. You look at their store and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah. It's just too hard too. I will say I did drive by Barney's the other day, and like the way that they had their closeout signs looking like a Toys R Us going out of business, it was shocking.
I literally wanted to spit.
You should have.
You should have. You should
I
have found the
wanted
video.
to spit over the stairwell.
So my Black Friday, I was at the Grove both Friday and Saturday,
Yeah.
and it was emptier than last weekend. It did not feel
Like there was no
was-
rush,
It was just like a typical holiday weekend at the Grove,
but still jam packed, right?
but not like it was fine.
The APL store opening was bigger.
Sure, and
Yeah.
Nordstrom was empty. We had food at the cafe upstairs. Nordstrom was empty.
Who eats there?
No, but the store, the shopping area. The restaurant was empty too.
How was Mickey? You have a store in Topanga Mall. How was that?
Topanga Mall was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, we.
Ethnic minorities still like to shop, huh? It's
Yeah,
just
they
white
do.
people.
They haven't figured out like
The good old
does the
Valley.
World
Yeah,
Wide Web-
Valley minorities love to hit the mall still.
Well, yeah, I would say because whoever's shopping in the Grove is not really looking for a discount. I would think like percentage wise versus the Valley. Yeah, for sure, everybody's like hunting down the best deal and jumping around the different malls because Topanga is pretty much as best as you're gonna get on that side of town.
that's definitely the premium mall.
Yeah, if I got good grades, that's where I got to go shop. So
Yeah.
growing up in the Valley, so yeah, it was crazy. I mean,
What were the busy stores in your eyes?
I think Fashion Nova was pretty nutty.
I heard Fashion Nova in every location was super busy.
In the
Yeah.
stores.
Yeah, because they have a lot of Valley stores.
Yeah, no, they
They-
were
they
killing
have one in
it.
Burbank.
Urban Outfitters was pretty busy. They're next door to us, so they had a line, pretty much 40 different people. I don't know how many people they're letting in at a time. And then we actually got to a point where we had 35 or so people in the store, and we kind of capped the capacity there, and still had a line of 10 to 15.
What was the hot item in your store? What was the hot fuckboy item?
I mean, regardless of the politics or whatever's going on, Yeezys they still
Really?
sell. And even that day, it was crazy because Foot Locker upstairs released a brand new Yeezy that morning, and they did first come first serve for whatever. Didn't get picked up around 3, and then boom, like right after 3:15, everybody starts coming in trying to sell them to us, and we would sell them within the hour right
That's
after we bought them
crazy.
from
To
somebody
someone
else. Yeah, for like $150 markup.
Wow.
So yeah, Yeezy's still
was
going
Yeezy
strong.
was the biggest shoe of the day?
Yeezy by far is the biggest shoe of our probably history.
Really?
Yeah, it still goes, and because
Is
it's
that
got
because you're a Christian?
no,
Okay.
not at all.
They might have sent him a letter.
That's
Might have sent
that's
him a
just
letter.
data. That's just data.
He's on the mailing list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Kanye fan, but I actually got asked to go check out the Sunday service this morning, and I turned it down. I just decided to sleep in and
So I want
be available for group chat. Apparently,
yeah, I want quickly to chime in. The only other conversation that came up with my dad and the family was, my dad said, how about Kane West?
Kane.
And I said, who's that? Is that a whatever? And then
Abel and Kane, is that a thing?
Yeah, it is. So he's like, oh, I meant Kanye. And then so we talked about it. I said, I think it's a joke. I think
How did the Kanye come up?
you got no. My dad literally said, "How about that Kane West?"
Okay.
That's what led into Joel Osteen.
Okay.
They said, "Did you see he did Joel Osteen's service?" I said, "I think you guys should give it 2 years before you start to really buy." And like they were kind of into it. Like they were like
They're into the Kanye religion.
they're into like you can be saved at any time. And
Damn, Kanye's a genius.
and Jesus would walk with prostitutes and thieves, and and would turn people, and like
This is
I
the
tried to
only
push back
thing-
hard, and not that they were like, no, leave Kanye alone, but they were like, I don't know if
I mean, Mr. Kane West knew the only way to dig himself out of the hole was to use something that no one can really criticize you
Yeah,
for.
he was smart.
Yeah.
I mean, Brad Pitt was at the Hollywood Bowl watching.
I think
Brett
there's a
Pitt's
chance.
alcoholic. Like,
I think there's a
Is
real
he?
chance that
yeah. Have
he
you
is.
read his
Yes.
Judge
Angelina
Free,
Jolie
yeah.
situation?
I think there's a good chance that they sat around and thought up the
Yeah, it was a plan.
Christianity thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I don't mean to give him too much credit. I think there's a chance
Okay.
because it literally worked perfectly.
Yeah, my dad doesn't listen to hip hop, but the moment I told him Kanye put out a gospel album, he was like, "That's great." Like,
Yeah.
He didn't even listen to it.
He's like, more people will know the gospel now.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how they. Yeah.
They see it as
God.
just it's an extension.
So
to,
frustrating.
Group chat is the podcast of God.
Which God?
All gods.
All gods. The number one God in the world.
We each actually speak
Three
different
gods.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Are we ready to get into some pop culture?
That's 40 minutes.
Literally just did a
I know,
Black
but
Friday.
it's just amazing,
It's worth
amazing
it.
content.
I really want everyone, like all of our listeners, please heavily chime in on these topics.
Yes.
DM us, comment, whatever it is. Let us know what you think about all these things. Okay. Real quick, Gabrielle Union, I saw was all over the news this weekend. Apparently, she was at America's Got Talent. She criticized the general culture of the place, and she's canned. Out of here.
This is an interesting situation, and the reason why this article really intrigued me was given I'm like heavy into the morning show,
Yes.
and I'm watching a scene in the morning show where one of the women say to Reese Witherspoon, who's like, you know, the new renegade girl that's trying to like bring, you know, wokeness to the show, that she's just like, shut up, let us enjoy the success we're having with the show. We don't want to bring the house down.
Mm-hmm.
Gabrielle Union, who's a judge on America's Got Talent, brought up to the network executives that she felt uncomfortable because of some supposed racist jokes Jay Leno did. Some Simon Cowell apparently is a chain smoker.
Indoors.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's Simon Cowell.
He can do what he wants.
He's bigger than Joel Osteen.
Right? I mean, come on.
Simon Cowell. Let me tell you something. If I was Simon Cowell and you guys were fucking whoever the fuck you
Gabrielle
are, you're Gabrielle Union and you're Joel.
Leno.
I don't give a fuck who you are.
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno. And I'm Simon Cowell. I would smoke, drink, and you guys would have to shut the fuck up and deal with it. That's my opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
Because
fine
I'm
with that.
Simon Cowell.
Yeah, if I'm Jay Leno, I'm totally fine with that.
Okay. So Jay Leno says his jokes. Simon Cowell's smoking. Gabrielle Union makes a complaint that the culture is wrong. There are some instances with a black rapper.
They're supposed to. So apparently, Gabrielle was told by Simon Cowell, "Come to me. Don't go to the network.
Yeah.
If you have any issues."
It's his show, right?
It is his show.
Yeah. So
He
fair.
created like this whole industry, right?
Yeah.
He's the godfather.
Yeah, just unfortunately, I think, I don't know, man. This might be controversial. I'm fine with people acting that way. If you created it, if it's your show and you have had that much success, smoke your cigarettes, man. I don't know.
And here's the thing: is that the problem is
I'm
like,
just saying, like, look how much money you've generated for, like, I don't know.
and that's the argument is that I'm watching the morning show, and a lot of the coworkers in the scripted show were standing up for the character that committed the sexual assault.
Yep.
And I think the reality is that in these situations, people have to understand it's a lot more complicated than just a black and white situation.
and the morning show does an incredible job at showing that.
Exactly. And I think I'm like, I give no sympathy to Matt Lauer. Fuck him. He can go to jail, whatever. When I watch that show and I see like they clearly did some research on the perspective of women employees at the show at that time. Yeah. And I look at that and I'm like, okay, that's interesting that like even these women who were part of this larger thing were like, you know what? I don't want this to end. I understand that he did something wrong and we all looked a blind eye. And I'm looking at Gabrielle Union complaining. The thing about Gabrielle Union that's different from all other women is she's really rich.
Yeah, her husband is Dwayne Wade, who's made hundreds of millions of dollars, who's selling wine in China, sneakers in China.
Yeah.
They have no shortage of money, which is why I'm okay with her. If she didn't feel comfortable and she wanted to complain, she can afford to get fired.
Yeah.
Yes, and so I'm
Right?
okay,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with her standing up for herself.
Yes.
Doing whatever she wants, and then if she gets fired, it's all good.
But like the fact that which is why I kind of respect what she did. Obviously, we don't know the inner workings. Let's just take it on face value. She complained about things that seemed seemingly borderline inappropriate.
Okay.
And she was willing to get fired over it, and she got fired.
And that's fine. Here's the thing: is if you're going to be so politically correct, your husband can't take money from Chinese people. I'm sorry. You can't.
Yeah, it gets in.
That's way worse than what Simon Cowell's just smoking cigarettes.
No, it's like workplace like oppression versus
And we don't know
humanity.
what-
No, I
versus-
mean we manufacture goods in China, so stop taking goods from China.
I don't, but I'm not woke. I'm not woke. I'm saying, I want the cheapest price
But I
of
don't
goods
think-
for my customer.
I will
That
say-
is very different. Gabrielle Union is complaining about all these things. I'm not that person.
But what if she just
So
went
I'm
in
gonna
and
get
said like,
the cheapest
"Hey,
price.
I don't feel comfortable," and like the smoke.
I don't
like,
think
it's
it's-
a lot.
I don't think it's that
Like she's
linear,
allowed to say
right?
that. I don't think just because you make money from China, I don't think it voids
we
your
all make
right.
money from China. All
Yeah.
three of us.
I know, but I don't
stand to
complain about
benefit.
stupid shit.
Yeah, but you.
Drama's sitting here vaping. I don't say anything.
I don't vape anymore.
Yeah.
What the
I feel uncomfortable in the set of group chat.
I haven't vaped in
Drama
months.
is vaping.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I
I'm fine
think
with
that-
it. I'm fine with it on both sides. I get the
No, but
angle
you
that
can't be
Simon
so-
Cowell.
But I think we
get-
have to know what really happened. Like we don't know the details of what she dealt with, and we also don't know the details of how she addressed it. Without knowing that, we don't know.
I agree. I just think that it's an interesting discussion that a lot of people are going to have. Gabrielle Union is in a very unique position. She can speak her mind freely and get fired. Most people are not in that position. If I was Gabrielle Union, like I just fluked up on America's Got Talent, let me tell you something. I'll bring my inhaler. I will inhale all of Simon Cowell's smoke.
Of
And I will
course, yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Yes.
Okay? And I'll be like,
But she's got. But
Joe,
she's,
you did a good
no, so, but the point
job.
is, she's got. That's my point. She has the benefit of being able to give it all up if this isn't the
Yeah,
workplace.
she was
for her.
probably sick of shooting. She's like, "Hey, this place fucking sucks," and like,
Have you
get
seen
out.
their vacations in the summer?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Fucking fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not trying to
They're
work.
in yachts in
They're
like
fine.
Mediterranean.
Yeah, I had no sympathy for her for leaving the job, but
I
I'm
just will
saying.
say, like, I don't think anyone.
No, but I like that people that can afford to lose are
Lose.
willing to stand up for something that they believe in. Whether they
Yeah.
and they lose, that's great. It's fine.
Let
Not
me
great.
tell you.
it's just like they knew the consequences of speaking up, and it doesn't affect it.
Simon Cowell, if you're listening, if you're like an assistant or anyone listening, be a huge fan of the show.
Smoke your cigs.
I will inhale.
If
all
Simon
the
Cowell
nicotine.
wants to produce our show, smoke your fucking cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know what? If Jay Leno wants to throw racial slurs at my face for 2 hours a day, I will sit there
I'll
and
pick
shut
up
the
a
fuck
pack
up.
of Camels
Just
for a
be a
Simon
punching
Cowell
bag.
production.
Just be a racial punching
Yeah, I'd
bag.
be like, what do you want to say, Jay? You could take that Porsche and shove it up my brown ass.
Oh shit. Okay, we got to keep moving. Holy shit. Okay, what about Kid Rock? Apparently, Kid Rock went on a rant about
America's
Oprah.
got racist.
What happened? How are you ranting about Oprah?
He just got wasted, and apparently he was asked to be on the Oprah Winfrey show, and they had asked him in advance, what are things you like about Oprah? And he felt like he had to force to say, and then he just lost his mind. And he obviously doesn't like The View, Kathy Griffin, Joy Behar. Like, I think where he's obviously known as a conservative person. He's unfortunately bashed a lot of female liberal hosts, and so he kind of looked crazy.
Not
but don't
surprising.
you think-
Has zero effect on his career.
Yeah, don't you think kind of similar to Trump? Like
This is on
his
brand.
fans
Yeah,
love
this
it.
is on brand for Kid Rock.
And the funny thing about Kid Rock is he lives in Malibu.
What did he? Yeah, I know. What did he say? Did he
Like,
say
do we
anything
see,
of any?
like, is he at like Cafe Habana? Like, is that where I'm
For
sure people
sure.
see him, right?
For
That's
sure
exactly
he is.
probably where he's hanging out. He's probably hanging out at all those
Karaoke
restaurants.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, he's hanging out.
I mean, we went and walked around downtown Nashville, and there's a 4-story like bar.
I went to that
and-
place.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
Kid Rock's place. Yeah,
Did you go to Jason Aldean's?
we walked by them all. We didn't go in there.
Oh,
we just
Jason
walked
Aldean's
around.
was popping.
Yeah.
That's my spot.
But yeah, he's rich as shit and he lives like it. But is there any what did he say anything memorable?
No, I mean, he just said.
Okay.
It's
Well, his people
nonsense.
probably love it.
Love it.
I mean, that's probably the best thing he could have done.
Yeah, it was good. It was good business.
Okay. Next up, let's talk about ICE. Here's a funny story that I can't wait to get your guys' take on. So, we've all heard about ICE, and especially here in LA, like ICE is a big topic, and you drive down the highway and there's like ICE crossed out hanging from the overpasses, right? I didn't realize that, number one, ICE was going to work in places like Michigan, and I also didn't realize that Mexicans weren't the only minorities they were after. They were actually after your guys' people.
Brown.
The brown of the
Brown
pod.
Friday had a devastating week.
I mean, what? I didn't even realize what they're taking out Indians in Michigan.
Yeah.
What are they doing? So they have a fake college, and they're like, "Hey, all you smart Indians, come and roll. We're giving out scholarships." And then they're.
It looks like ICE has set up a fake college.
What do you mean?
I think I still can't understand the motive in this situation, because in the anti-immigration movement, most of it has become because of people illegally sneaking from the southern border. This situation is they created a university to lure foreign students to come to, and then upon arrival, arrest them for illegally immigrating into the country.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know what ICE was after.
Okay.
I mean, when you think college,
Yeah,
there's a lot of Indians come up.
and they took their money.
Yeah.
So they took millions of dollars from these students that paid for this fake education that they thought they were getting, and then they were subsequently deported.
I don't understand what was going on here.
So I get immigration. We can get, middle America talk, and I get how it's important.
Yeah.
People need to come into the country legally.
Yeah.
They need to abide by the rules. I get
Fine
it.
people.
Yeah.
I get it.
Sure. Yeah.
But
I'm fresh out of Tennessee. I have a different perspective.
you're like, yeah?
Nab them up. Cages, right?
But the troubling part for me is I get when you want to deport people that have criminal records,
Yep.
that have been convicted of something, have a DUI, have done something to harm society, and those are people you should probably be focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
Expending resources on trapping some unsuspecting Indians who want to go to college.
Yeah.
It's a little interesting.
I get it. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think you should start not at people who are just dying to go to college.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think there's a whole
level of people before
whole
that.
level that are causing a lot of problems. Like, I
Yeah.
do think that exists. And I
Yes.
do think whatever, but yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I didn't realize that, number one, I thought when I picture ICE, I picture they're kicking in doors and grabbing
Yeah.
up families. I didn't picture this whole elaborate scheme of this fake college, and Jagdish is walking in there, just can't wait for his first day.
He's like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm
and,
going to
if you
jail.
talk to-
I came to college.
No, but if
I'm
you-
a computer science engineer.
No, but if you talk to any executive of any of the big technology companies,
Yeah.
they all will say a big problem is losing talent of Indians and Chinese people
Yeah.
who aren't able to get resident status to stay here and work,
Yeah.
and they go back to India and China and build companies that compete with American companies.
Yeah.
That's a real problem.
Yeah.
TikTok is a bunch of Chinese engineers that are better than a lot of the engineers that were trying to
Instagram,
create
just
social
say it.
media.
They're better than Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's a jam up. I don't know, because I
Indian
understand.
engineers haven't created anything good at social media.
Not social media, but they pretty much are the back end for the entire U.S. tech economy.
Yeah, but I care about social media.
You care about TikTok. So that's the Chinese part. There's infrastructure that needs to be built. That's the Indian part.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, what's you guys running Microsoft now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Microsoft and Google.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are killing it. Maybe just let a few of them. Check grades first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't want stupid Indians in here.
Give
but,
them some
smart
sort of
ones,
test.
okay.
And all right, you guys are
If you're a dumb Indian, not welcome.
Okay, let's move on. Deutsche Bank. This 55-year-old executive, gosh, I mean, it's a serious story. We're fresh off of laughing really hard into a serious story. This 55-year-old Deutsche Bank executive has committed suicide in his Malibu home, and it turns out that he was the one who signed off on a lot of these controversial Donald Trump loans. So there's been all these, I've heard it on podcasts and documentaries and stuff where Trump got all these loans that seemed very I don't know, favors, I guess you could say. They didn't really add up or make sense. So yeah, the guy who was responsible for it has killed himself. Do you think that that was directly because of the pressure and the heat from that and all the people scrutinizing why he did that? Or do you think there was other stuff going on?
Man,
or?
it's crazy. All these people associated with this kind of era from like early 2000s to the Trump presidency are dead. A lot of very, very prominent people. And this particular executive was associated to a person by the name of, I forgot his name, crazy, kind of shady name. I gotta look it up. But he was involved with a lot of the loans that were given to Donald Trump as early as 2015. And over about a 12-year period, all the monies that was given, something in the hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know why this particular person died. His wife actually died in 2017, and there's no real reason or
Unknown causes.
Unknown causes, which is kind of shady. They have 3 children.
He's only 55.
55, so it's
Well, he
like,
hanged himself.
That's wild.
I don't even
I know,
Malibu.
but I'm just saying, like, if 50, I
I don't
know.
even believe that. I don't believe like it's the same thing. Like I don't like Jeffrey Epstein obviously didn't commit suicide.
Yeah, ever since Epstein, I don't really believe anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, why is this guy killing himself?
I mean, the Trump tree-
impeachment fucking hearing.
The Trump tree is scary. People are going to jail. People
if
are
Rudy
dying.
Giuliani kills himself,
He's
then-
not killing. He's too proud.
no,
too
no.
proud.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if we just find out,
He'll go to jail. He
no,
won't
no,
kill
I'm just
himself.
saying, if we find out,
No, that
he
is
just
a heart
died.
attack.
Oh, you're saying then they killed him?
They killed him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, this thing is so deep and dark.
Yeah.
It's
Jeffrey
gonna be
Epstein,
so
these
worse
Deutsche
for the
Bank
kids.
executives.
Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah. There's
Eric
going to be
Trump,
this weird
the
like
Kushner,
generation
Ivanka,
of
yeah.
messed up kids.
I mean, it's
because I
legit-
also think that the
It's
whole
the Kennedys. The Kennedys are a fucking train wreck.
yeah.
I think it's worse.
No, I don't. I mean,
Because I also think
please
that
read the Kennedy history. There's nothing worse than that.
I also think when you mix it with the fact that like the climate is changing, like there's no future for those kids. I don't think.
Yeah, like what's
there
going
was
to happen
for their fathers.
So
I think-
Barron
Young Barron.
Trump,
Yeah, like
right?
young Barron, I
Trump's
think-
he's going to go to Harvard or Yale or
Barron?
Stanford. Where's he going to go?
Rehab.
yeah, and Yale.
He's going to go to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, one of those like top schools.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? What's his experience?
He's going to end up at Rikers or Corcoran.
Barron.
Yeah.
Isn't he like 8?
No, now he's got to be like 11 or 12.
Yeah. Well, either way, one way or another, he's headed
Yeah.
somewhat that way. But my point is, I think that when you were like, if you were Donald Trump's age, there was a future for you in clicking up with those other fucked up white kids. And one day you were going to be politicians and business leaders, right? I have a real feeling that, even though it might not
Like
completely
if
go
a
away,
Barron Trump rises to power, it's like everyone's fault.
I think it's over. I think Donald
Well,
Trump is the last generation of like true
It's
just.
Trump and then Junior. I mean, the Republican Party, there's rumblings that Junior's the next.
Junior's a fucktard.
I don't think Junior has a shot.
No chance.
Just an off-brand Trump. Like Trump only worked because of his specific skill
Yeah.
in using media. I don't think Junior's got that.
I'm
No,
not saying-
Junior's
He's just got
loser.
all the racism and
Yeah.
none of the spunk.
He is
you know?
all. He doesn't have the snipe. I like when I see Donald Trump on TV. I turn up the volume. Junior,
He's must-watch TV.
Yeah.
He's
Donald
definitely-
Trump
Yeah.
is blockbuster.
Yeah.
I like him. Like I like his entertainment. Junior, he looks like a dummy.
No, he just looks like you want to hate him.
Yeah.
And you can't laugh at him.
Yeah, Turkey.
So D's the MAGA one. D just said, I like Trump.
D just went full
Turn up the volume.
He just snuck in. He's like, literally, I turned the volume. I like him.
No, but he's entertaining. I'm saying for comedic purposes.
Okay, listen, I'm going to save you. This is good. Let's put an ad in here.
Okay.
Let's move on.
It's a
If we
MAGA
have any
ad.
ads, put them here. Okay, next up. We were talking earlier about how things aren't always black and white. And this is literally the perfect example of that being a fact. So there was this like terrorist attack in London where multiple people were stabbed. And a guy had, I believe, last I read, a fake suicide bomb vest. He was taken down by a pedestrian, it seems like, a civilian.
A hero.
A hero, absolutely. I would say undeniably when you hear the story, that's absolutely a hero, right? And then was shot by the police. It turns out they found out that this terrorist guy was on like some sort of day release from prison, right? So should have been in prison.
Yeah.
Was out for the day and decided to use it jihading, right?
Interesting enough, the person that was out here stabbing people,
Yep.
Usman Khan, apparently ISIS is taking claim. How does that work, the taking claim part?
They want to
They
take
just,
claim
like-
for anything that's public and high
Yeah,
profile.
they just put it out. They just put out like a YouTube video.
Whether
and
it
say, like, "Yo, that
is,
was
doesn't
us."
matter.
Did
It's
they
to
take
help-
claim for the 10 people that got shot in New Orleans?
They probably looked into it, and if
They
it
wanted.
looked
They
like,
needed a tie.
Yeah,
You just take claim.
Yeah.
yeah, you try. If anyone,
And
I
like,
mean, haven't you watched like West Wing or any of these? Everyone takes claim.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So is there like an ISIS headquarters and someone's
Yes.
like, oh shit just went down in London.
That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
start faxing in to the like embassies, like we did this.
yeah,
But who?
Every terrorist group, they want to take credit because it's.
How do they message and not get traced? That's what I want to know.
I mean,
I don't know
Telegram,
that it's-
Signal. Like,
Yeah,
What do you
I
mean
don't
they're
know.
signaling? Who are they signaling? Donald Trump? Hey, by the
No,
way, we
it's-
did this.
I don't know.
I just don't understand. So whatever. They took claim for this attack. It was a stabbing. Luckily, in
and they
England,
also
they
put
don't-
out. They put out in the dark web. We did it, and obviously the CIA and everyone knows where this is all being captured.
Okay, so ISIS did this stabbing attack. in
They
England.
claim we have no idea if it was confirmed.
No, they took.
But
Yeah,
didn't
no,
it
they-
seem like the
they-
guy was? Didn't they say he was motivated by like he had some extremism?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's name's Usman Khan, so you
Okay.
could lean that way.
Well, so here's the other thing. So this guy was out on a day release,
Yeah.
right? So obviously a lot of reason to be upset.
Yeah.
Turns out the guy the civilian who took him down, who was the hero, was also out on a day release.
Yeah.
Because this guy is a convicted murderer
of a disabled woman.
of a disabled woman currently in prison.
Yes. What
So, I
kind
mean-
of day release program is this?
I mean, gosh,
Letting
but
mur-
talk about how a day release can go one of two ways.
That's like we're letting Charles Manson out for the weekend in Malibu. You know, we want to let him release.
And murdered a disabled woman. But think about it, and you're the hero. I mean, this guy took down the stabber.
It's insane.
So I mean, had this
So
guy,
the
had this
queen-
murderer not been out, had one murderer not been out, people wouldn't have been stabbed. Had another murderer not been out, he wouldn't have been stopped.
Yeah. The Queen applauded him. The mayor applauded him.
Did they know?
No, obviously now they know that this. What kind of day release program is one guy's stabbing people, the other one's.
Yeah. Do you think they
Who
knew
has
before?
created a day
And he
release
was-
program for murderers?
Do you think they talked before? Like, hey, what are you going to do on your day off?
And he was
All right.
wearing.
All right, I'll
Oh,
see
you
you
know
there.
what? You know, ISIS has been hitting me up. I was going to stab a bunch of people on the Tower fucking Bridge.
You're like, hell no, you're not.
So he was
I'll see you
released
there,
last
bitch.
year, and he had the tag on his ankle.
He what?
Is Khan? The
terrorist.
the terrorist killer had an electronic bracelet on his ankle, and he was released last year. So he wasn't on the day. The other guy was on the day.
Oh, so he was out. He had a house arrest.
Correct.
Oh.
Managed by probation service and subject to low-level monitoring.
And the other guy.
The other guy
The
was
hero.
on the hero is on the day release.
Sheesh.
What? I don't understand how you're letting murderers on day release. I guess in this case it worked out.
Thank God
because
they did.
no one else. I guess he's on death row, so he was like, "Fuck it, I'll save these people."
But think about the nuance of the type of person that kills a disabled woman, but wants to protect civilian people that he doesn't know.
Yeah,
Like, what is the thought process?
he's psycho.
Sheesh.
I think he just went to instinctual. I'm
He's just like,
killing
you
this
know what?
motherfucker.
Yeah,
But you have it in you to murder a disabled woman, but you care about the well-being of strangers getting stabbed.
yeah,
Like, you killed a person,
yeah.
but you care about it's insane.
It's insane. It's a very bizarre story. I don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
I guess the only interesting thing or positive thing is that if it was America, that would have been a gun. In England, it's a knife.
Yeah, UK. There's no guns.
Yeah, for sure.
because
But,
it
you
would have
know,
been a
The
lot-
worst in UK if you're out at a bar, you're getting bottled,
Yeah, or stabbed.
Yeah.
stabbed.
And also, this guy isn't even able to tackle you if you have an AR-15.
Yeah.
10 people got shot in New Orleans this weekend.
Yeah, did they say why that happened? They don't know
Was
why
it
that
in the
happened,
French
right?
Quarter, by the way? I didn't
Canal
see
Street. I don't know where that is.
it. Probably.
I've never been
yeah.
there.
I've been.
There's no reason though, right? And then a bunch of people got shot. There was another cartel down by Texas,
Texas,
in
and
Mexico.
near the
It seems
border.
like that cartel stuff's heating up.
I saw the venue they shot up. It's like a Swiss cheese, just holes everywhere.
Yeah, those
It's
trucks that were lit up. Oh my gosh. Okay, well maybe we won't go to Mexico for a little bit. Okay, it looks like Russia has built the very first ever highway, similar to LeBron James. Russia has built a highway to China.
Yeah.
So, they're like, whatever. We want easy access.
This is crazy.
What's going on?
There's literally a less than 1 mile bridge that connects Russia and China now. Talk about the shadiest road in the world.
Yeah.
This is like, imagine like all the shady shit that's going to go down on that road from the two shadiest countries.
Yeah.
It's kind of a scary thing that they connected.
Because what was the thing, like what, before, how would you, like you couldn't drive over?
No, there was no road that actually connected those.
Wow.
Well, the bigger point is that if China's whole goal is to basically make the rest of the world their allies, so all the people that the U.S. doesn't want to deal with, or politically doesn't want to deal with, even though we do, like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and all these countries that have tons of money and have massive amounts of trade. China's going around in Africa, basically controlling the rest of the world. So like the U.S. gets the West, which is the U.S. and Europe.
Yeah.
North America and Europe is dead.
Yeah.
Like from an economic standpoint, it's not growing. It's not where
They got
the future
day
of innovation-
releases for murderers.
Yeah, it's true.
And
they do.
so
they just have murderers
China's
walking around.
basically going around the world. They've not secretly, but like kind of quietly went in and controlled Africa, which is where like the next boom's going to be. This is where like all the people sub 20 or it's like billions of people. And
Jack Dorsey said he's moving there.
he's been in Ethiopia.
Good, get
and
the
in
fuck out of
Nigeria.
here.
He's been everywhere.
Yeah.
He's been posting. He's been doing blockchain meetups. By the way,
That's what he said he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, just leave America. I don't care. Just get out of here.
Why do you?
You love his
have-
platform.
Why do you have so much hatred for Jack Dorsey?
Jack Dorsey's a weirdo. He just tries to be weird to be cool. Like, get out of here. Go to Africa.
Okay,
I
what
don't
about the
even
bridge?
know what that
All right,
means.
finish on the bridge.
Yeah.
It's scary to me. It's
It's just what's happening.
But it's scary.
It's kind of scary.
It is
The
scary.
bridge
China
should be
just got
scary.
all of us to
you
shut
should
up.
be more scared about like China controlling all of natural resources because of their relationships with Africa.
Well, that bridge ain't helping.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, anytime you see like, oh shit, they got another one, they got another friend.
Yeah.
The way they got us to shut up about this NBA stuff still has me shook.
And TikTok, they got you guys all fucking
Yeah, they got
dancing
me
like
dancing.
morons.
Yeah, absolutely. Damn it. I just saw today, by the way, I got served an Armani Exchange ad on TikTok.
What?
Full shop, click the link.
Dancing? Was someone dancing?
No. Well, yeah, it was actually.
Like an Italian
Yeah,
person?
It was, yeah.
Bonjour.
Okay. Next up, let's talk about, there was this UPS employee, multiple UPS employees that ran a massive drug shipment operation for a decade.
Yeah.
And didn't get caught. I mean, pretty nuts. I guess I don't know. I guess if you're well organized and you find some people that are on the same page as you, I see how you could pull that off.
What can
And
Brown do for you?
That's your whole.
is that the
I'm
slogan?
sure.
Yeah, they can deliver you drugs.
Wait, that's the slogan?
Well, UPS is what Brown. What can
What
Brown
can
do?
Brown do for you?
Are they talking about D?
Seems a little cancelable. Right?
Yeah.
What can Brown do for you?
You know what brown people can do? Deliver you drugs.
Yes, they can.
And get deported.
And by brown people, we mean UPS employees, just to be clear. Pushing a lot of boundaries on this episode. So what happened? They just had some well-organized thing going on here, and
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. Like, when you think about, like, the networks of a UPS, a FedEx, even, like, just all these, like, well-developed groups of people, I'm not surprised at the amount of things that are happening in a place like UPS. Because the drivers have an enormous amount of power, and it is an amazing way to distribute anything. Like, think about it. Like, if you want to distribute drugs. A friend of mine sent me something the other day on Uber. Like, he's sending me some clothes. And he was like, man, this is a great way to send drugs, huh? And I was like, Jesus.
yeah.
But that's how people are thinking. Like, I would argue that if you look at history, drug dealers are probably the most sophisticated, smartest,
Drug dealers and arms dealers.
just like
Like
so
war dogs.
sophisticated.
How amazing was War Dogs?
Yeah, it's incredible.
But like, think about how sophisticated drug dealers are exploiting everything. I mean, there would be no Bitcoin if there wasn't for drug dealers.
Yeah, I used to
No,
love
that's
those
not
like
true.
drug, like
Yeah,
drugs.
It's patently false.
Drugs
No,
Inc.
there wouldn't have been a lot of things without drug dealers. Drug dealers exposed a lot. The internet was exploded because of porn and fucked up shit. Like all these things that get exploded because of dark web stuff. It's just what
Obviously,
it is.
dark web matters and it's a huge economy, but I wouldn't.
But that's how these
Do you
things
think
get
dark
popular.
web was the first use case for
A lot of
Bitcoin?
things. Yeah, of course they are.
Or for, whatever. Crypto?
You're saying
The first
Crypto
actual
didn't
use
get
case by
mainstream until-
average people. First actual use case by average people for crypto was or was
At
not
scale.
potentially
Of
dark
course.
web.
To this day,
I mean,
there's no one
no.
that's used crypto more than drug dealers.
I
No
don't know
one's
if that's
buying
true.
using crypto to buy anything.
That might be true. He said he doesn't know if it's true, which means it's probably true.
Yes,
No.
nobody's using crypto to buy anything. Have you used crypto? You're the biggest crypto person. You're not going to the Grove and be like, you know what? Here's 2 cryptos for my coffee.
Crypto.
I'm not
Yeah,
even
like,
getting
whatever.
into this.
Moving on.
Because I know I'm
There's
right.
just no
I'm-
point. There's just
I'm
no point.
100%
Listen, if you're
right.
buying mushrooms on the dark web, you
Nobody's
crypto.
using any crypto to buy anything except drugs.
Yeah, they're not buying it.
Except drugs.
Except for drugs on the dark web.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Who's
But-
buying, using it as currency in daily life?
I'm passing on this topic.
Because
Yeah, yeah.
I know I'm 100% right on
Jesus.
this one.
I think up until
it's
this
just-
point, you might be
It's
right.
Sunday night. It's getting late. We
I
don't need to
think-
get a little.
I think up
Hey,
until
do you
this
know
point,
anyone
you
who's
might
used
have a
crypto
point.
to use anything?
No, just crack on the dark web.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay.
They're trying to bait me. I'm not taking
I
it.
don't know what you're talking about. It seems
Good.
actually-
I want to make sure
Keep
crypto's
going.
dead in the water.
Okay, let's talk
going.
about who's not using crypto.
Yeah.
People in Michigan, because now marijuana is legal.
Amazing.
So no need to get crypto on the dark web. Buy your weed. You can do it normal, just like you
Michigan
do here.
and Illinois in January
Yep.
are both legal.
Congratulations to you
It's
guys,
amazing.
and congratulations to all of the new entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
that are taking advantage of this massive opportunity. I mean, out here in LA, every freaking corner now is a weed store.
Yeah.
And even like all down Melrose, there's like all these like nice weed stores. And
Yeah.
like Dosist has a store, and
Yeah.
there's some place called
Dosist
Genius.
has a really nice store on 3rd.
Yeah.
Right by
oh, that's what I'm
Quality.
thinking of.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm thinking of.
The MedMen stores I just went the other day on Robertson is so nice. It's
They're
like-
going bankrupt, by the way.
That's fine. It's still it's a
Really?
nice
no, they'll
store.
be out of business like very soon.
It's still a nice store.
Sheesh.
I still
All
enjoy
that
the
hype.
store.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
And
nice store.
It's a really great store, and they've done a great job of like making it easier for the first time cannabis consumer. Because when I've been into a bunch of cannabis stores, it's still very confusing on like, MedMen feels like a Walmart. Like, oh, if you're into sleep, this is where you need to go.
Yeah.
If you're into beauty, this is where you need to go. And they did a really nice job of simplifying the experience
Yep.
of buying cannabis, which I think like that's where there's a lot of opportunity. I actually think just looking at the prices of a cannabis store, I think the biggest opportunity in cannabis is the 99-cent store of cannabis, like dollar joints.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think, yeah.
Because when you walk into a MedMen or any of these stores, shit's so expensive.
Yeah.
Like it's
You're
just-
right, but I think everyone, all the brands, everyone is trying so hard to change the perception.
Yeah.
And like the dollar store handing out joints out of the back
yeah,
alley.
like
is
if I were to open a cannabis retail, I'd open dollar joints.
You just have a shady operation
But
over
you know
in
what's
Michigan.
crazy?
Yeah, it'd be
is
like
I've-
shitty weed, but it'd be a dollar joint.
Yeah.
Like,
I
you know how many dollar joints I'd sell? They'd probably 20,000.
But you know what the scary part about obviously marijuana is going to be as big of an industry as any consumable good, right? That's a fact.
Yeah.
No one's debating that.
Yeah.
But the number of people that I know personally that are pretty big investors in the cannabis space, there's so many bad stories of like investments gone bad.
Yeah, but that's like any early industry.
It's just
think about
bad.
.com
But what do you
1.
think's different?
.com 1.0.
No,
Everyone
because
got burned.
I think
Everyone got burned. .com 1.0.
no, I think a lot of the people that are making money are like halfway legal, halfway illegal
Yeah.
in selling the actual.
Does anyone know what happened back after Prohibition ended? Does anyone know
Yeah,
how
we should
that
look
went?
at-
It
yeah.
seems like it'd be a similar story.
No, I know there's gonna be plenty of money to be made. I just know
no,
plenty
I
of
know.
investors that have gotten
Well,
burned
investors are
because
morons.
But I'm saying I think anytime
and brands
something
that we like, MedMen is going bankrupt. MedMen was apple of weed. It's bankrupt.
Yeah, all those businesses are bankrupt.
And the only person who made money was Adam Bierman, the CEO, who defrauded his investors and took money.
Yeah,
out
it's like WeWork. Adam Newman, he's the same thing. He's selling weed too. They're all crooks.
But my point is, like,
weed crooks are no different from regular crooks.
Anytime something transitions,
I'm not trying to make weed like this criminal space. I'm just saying it's shocking how many bad stories you hear when you know that consumption is just going way up, which is very different than WeWork. WeWork is a low margin business, which is why it failed.
I know, but you have to consider one thing. It's an industry transitioning from being illegal to being legal.
And it's going to change.
Everyone that had a head start, this is one thing that someone said to me, I think at the weed convention I went to or whatever, is like, you don't just come up on a grow operation the day it's legal. Those people had been doing it illegal and are transferring, right? So a lot of the money, a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the people in the space were doing it the illegal way, and I think naturally that's gonna have to like filter out.
Yeah, it takes time.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas the .com bubble, everyone was illegal. They weren't used to operating in this weird cash, and I think most of it's still cash only because federal banks won't take money. Like it's still this.
It's
weird.
just fascinating. Well, my point is just fascinating because the industry is just growing at like such a fast pace, but a lot of people aren't making money the way people think. All the public weed stocks have been crushed. It's just fascinating. It's interesting to see because you know the industry's growing. Yeah. It's very different than .com because .com in 2000, 2001, the infrastructure costs were so high, which is why none of those businesses made sense. Yep. It made sense 10 years later because of AWS and Amazon being able to provide free, cheap services to actually host your websites.
But the point being is early of any revolutionary industry has challenges. And in the case of the .com boom, they overvalued a bunch of businesses.
No, it was infrastructure costs. It was purely infrastructure costs,
but
that's a lack of actual users.
That's every
industry. But weed's not lacking the users or the margin.
But it's still
no, but it's a shady. It's like it's a cash bit. What you're saying is that barrier to entry at least made you have smart people really try to figure it out and invest some money and blah blah blah. It is very similar in the sense of when it's a gold rush, everyone's in it.
Everyone's in it.
But with weed, you
dumb
mix.
Investors are pouring money into weed. The people that invested in weed are morons. A lot of those people are like, oh, I just want weed.
Not all of them. Not everyone.
No, but they weren't sitting there. Like, the amount of people have told me that have invested in weed that have not done their homework.
Sure.
It's not surprising that so many people... It's the same thing when the early internet was like, hey, my cousin started a .com. I came 400.
Yeah, I'm just saying separate from the internet, everyone knows it's the next biggest thing in the country, and they know that there's opportunity, but no one really knows where it's at, and it has just transitioned from being illegal, and people are exchanging cash, and like, not only is there no barrier to entry, literally zero, but like you're going home with like bags of cash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's so ghetto rigged right now.
Yeah, it's going to be this massive opportunity.
Yeah, some people are going to make it big. I just don't know. You have no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea who it is because it's going to be bigger than. It's going to be like food.
Yeah, it's literally it's literally alcohol.
I'm not. I mean, to be clear, I know it's going to be one of the biggest categories of consumption. That's like a fact.
Yeah.
But I'm just shocked at how many people who haven't made money investing in these different
There's a lot of
products.
drug dealers that made money.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I think the only people who have made money is the half legal, half illegal.
Yeah. That's where the money's at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the money's not in like I'm gonna invest in Chrono stock and whatever fucking stock.
Okay, that's it, man. We got a 78-minute episode.
And
whatever,
the building may blow up.
The building, look, we still got time.
It makes up for the short one last week.
Yeah, it makes
that's
up.
true. That's true. Good.
Which
thinking,
we're all
Mickey.
happy you're back, by the way. Just gonna throw that out there as a Kathy.
Thank you, Mickey.
Shots at
Mickey, thank you for
Taylor.
joining us, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for giving us your perspective on the church stuff.
Yeah.
Very much needed. We need those. We got to make sure, like, even if it's not Andy Pfaff, we still get our friends that see things a little different. That's it. Come see us on December 10th at the Peppermint Club. Make sure you RSVP live at group-chat.com. Just send us an email. Let us know you're coming. Let us know who you're coming with. Last time we were pretty much at capacity, so just throw your name in there. Let us make sure that you're on the list, and we'll see you there. It's going to be fun.
See ya.
See ya later.
Wouldn't want to be
Well, maybe I would. We have some really